Town of Prescott Valley, regular town council meeting call to order, October 9th, 2025. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lopez.
Present.
Councilmember Keel.
Present.
Councilmember Freund. Councilmember Greer.
Here.
Councilmember Schumacher.
Present.
Vice Mayor Zurcher.
Here.
Mayor Palguda.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, I welcome down Pastor Jerry Ferguson, also Prescott Valley Police Department member for our invocation and pledge of allegiance. Welcome, sir.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, you who promised to never leave us or forsake us, we come to you with humble hearts, thanking you for your presence in all that we do and whatever we are. Thank you for protecting our first responders in challenging times and for giving them wisdom and courage in making decisions. Thank you for protecting our medical personnel in situations which demand their sharpest behavior and ability. Thank you for helping us to wisely move through lifestyle decisions we've never experienced before. Father, I pray for your continued leadership amidst our political leaders, nationally, statewide, and locally, as we become increasingly engaged in the various debates and discussions concerning the issues of our community. May we have a sense of peace that you are guiding us. I thank you for our town council members and their desire to serve us to the best of their abilities. Your word says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Thank you for the growth that is taking place in them during this process. I thank you for all the department heads and town employees who seek to make the town of Prescott Valley an enjoyable and productive place to live. Father, as the residents of our community express themselves in ways which our legal system allows, may each of us be willing to allow others the same freedoms we enjoy. And as we exercise our freedom of speech, may we all grow stronger. With our world situation unpredictable, I pray that our national leaders will hear your word, which says nations will come to your light and kings to the brightness of your dawn. May we renew our commitment to you as Almighty God of this world, who never allows anything to occur without your knowledge or will. Our Father, may this be our attitude and prayer as we continue through our meeting tonight and beyond. I pray this in the name of our Redeemer. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you, sir. Next up, item 3. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of item 10B, please? 10B will be coming back to us at another council meeting.
So moved.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call it up.
Councilmember Keel.
Yes.
Councilmember Freund. Vice Mayor Zurcher.
Yes.
Councilmember Schumacher.
Yes.
Mayor Palguda.
Yes.
And Councilmember Lopez.
Yes.
That passes unanimously. Thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am. If I can just have council all refresh their iPads. Next up, Proclamation Community Planning Month.
Community Planning Month, October 2025. Whereas change is constant and affects all cities, towns, suburbs, counties, boroughs, townships, rural areas, and other places. And whereas community planning and plans can help manage this change in a way that provides better choices for how people work and live. And whereas community planning provides an opportunity for all residents to be meaningfully involved in making choices that determine the future of their community. And whereas the full benefits of planning requires public officials and citizens who understand, support, and demand excellence in planning and plan implementation. And whereas the month of October is designated as National Community Planning Month throughout the United States of America and its territories. And whereas American Planning Association endorses National Community Planning Month as an opportunity to highlight how planning is essential to recovery and how planners can lead communities to equitable, resilient, and long-lasting recovery. And whereas the celebration of National Community Planning Month gives us the opportunity to publicly recognize the participation and dedication of the members of the Planning Commission and other citizen planners who have contributed their time and expertise to the improvement of the town of Prescott Valley of Arizona. And whereas we recognize the many valuable contributions made by professional community and regional planners of the town of Prescott Valley of Arizona and extend our heartfelt thanks for the continued commitment to public service by these professionals. Now, therefore, I, Kel Palguda, Mayor of the town of Prescott Valley, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2025 as Community Planning Month.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to say that Brittany, our third planner, she's not here. She's on vacation. Occasionally, we let people out of the office, so hope she's having a great time. So I want to thank her and Chris and John. They just do amazing work. I'm blown away by what they do. So super grateful to them, and also to the community and to all of the department heads and the staff and everybody in the organization that support us, because we can't do what we do in a great way without all of them. So thank you all for that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Next up, call to the public. At this time, members of the public may comment on matters listed on the agenda or solely on matters within the jurisdiction of the town. Any persons wishing to address the council must register their name with the town clerk prior to the commencement of the meeting. The council's response is limited to responding to criticism, asking staff to review a matter commented upon, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda. Such remarks shall be limited to 3 minutes unless additional time is granted by the mayor. Clerk.
We have 5 registered. The first 4 names are Ernest Ruby, Bruce Evans, Sandy Graham, and Patricia Betzel.
Welcome, sir.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, good to be in front of you again. Good to see you all. Ernest Ruby, PV voter, taxpayer, resident, all those good things. I'm here today to kind of dispel the exaggerated rumors of my demise. Not true. I'm here before you. I'd actually like to talk about some recent administrative actions and also about misconceptions regarding my retirement. HR Director inaccurately reported that I had resigned. I did not. I retired for the second time, I might say. March the second retirement of my career. So I'm going to clarify some of those things and explain to you and the audience why I retired. Approximately 3 years ago, I came out of retirement to serve as the Deputy Director of Development Services after being recruited to the town of Prescott Valley. That's why I came out of retirement. I was living in Buckeye, just retired as the town manager in Buckeye, working as a planning consultant. Upon my arrival, Mr. Davidson acknowledged the value of having a certified professional planning on staff. And he said the town had had planning for over 20 years. That was the statement. Well, when asked, I assured Mr. Davidson I was on board as long as I was having fun. Well, that's not the case anymore. No more fun. The thrill is gone, as the song goes. Anyway, I expressed concerns over serving for the second time as interim development services director. Mr. Davidson took umbrage at that. In fact, he wrote me an email that stated, during this meeting, however, some of your comments and behavior were concerning, particularly your statement to retire. Okay. Mr. Davidson knew my retirement plan 3 years ago. He's the one that helped bring me aboard for the town. Now things appear to have changed. And because of this threat of my retirement at 71 years of age, Mr. Davidson would feel threatened by that. There's more to it than that, folks. There's more to it than that. I think the council should investigate and try to find out. The HR director stated that the town had taken my concerns seriously. While not all actions may be visible to you, We have undertaken steps to evaluate and appropriately address the matters you raised. This was from the HR director. I guess I suspect now that the council was not fully informed about the concerns and the measures taken, as indicated by the lack of discussion over the interim public management contract on your September 11th consent agenda.
How about 15 more seconds?
Okay. In 2023, Mr. Davidson requested that I serve as interim director of development services at a 10% pay bump. I requested the same 10% when I was approached this time. The answer was absolutely not. 5%, that's all you're getting for taking on the job of both the director and the deputy director. Totally unfair. Anyway, in conclusion, I don't know if it was simply a memory lapse on the part of Mr. Davidson, forgetting about my previous retirement, or if it's a succession plan
Thank
to
you.
use and dispose of elderly folks like myself.
Mr. Ruby, thank you, sir. I appreciate your time, and I welcome you to contact anyone from council if you wish to speak further on this matter, or welcome you back at next council.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your time, and I do have materials, backup materials for everything I've stated. Thank you.
Clerk?
Bruce Evans.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Bruce Evans, Quillwood Meadows. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, what I'd like to talk about tonight are what I call serial speakers, which I could be accused of being one, I guess, and complainers. And before I get started and make a couple of points, I'm a huge supporter of the First Amendment. What I'm about to say isn't about constraining or denying anyone's speech. Anybody that, even if they totally disagree with me, I would help them up in the soapbox to make their points. So this isn't about the First Amendment. I would encourage the council to consider a new rule for call to the public, and that is that only people who are eligible to vote, not necessarily on the voter roll, but only people eligible to vote in Prescott Valley should have a say in what goes on in Prescott Valley. Among the serial speakers, and I'll name no one, we have people that chronically complain this must be the worst place on earth to live. We hate pronghorn. Everybody's in everybody else's pocket. It's just ridiculous verbiage and not worth it. And it comes very, very often from outsiders. If they want to make those allegations, go to a council meeting in, I don't know, Dewey, Humboldt, Chino Valley, somewhere where you live. And also, the town manager is exceptional when it comes to dealing with members of the public who want questions answered, make issues known. But sir, I feel you've been wasting your time with some of these chronic complainers and serial speakers. They have no interest in improving the town. In my opinion, simply opinion, they're far more interested in destroying the town, promoting their own agenda. They are not, you could meet with them every day till you're blue in the face. And it's not about debate or discussion or improvement, it's about disruption. And if you don't live in Prescott Valley, don't complain at this podium, don't ask for meetings to try to disrupt the town. And even the outsider thing, there's a certain PAC, which is, we did the petition drive for the Amazon site. If you look at the list, most of their officers and members don't even live in Prescott Valley. And they're doing a disservice to Prescott Valley with that particular petition. But anyway, just let's make Prescott Valley for Prescott Valley citizens and not for a bunch of disruptive outsiders. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sandy Graham.
Welcome, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. I'm Sandy Graham, Viewpoint North. I have concerns about the BMX contract that the town has initiated. I realize it was just taken off the agenda, but my information I feel is important. The contract is with Michael Miranda. My research confirms that Michael Miranda changed his name to Frederick Michael Felty, also known as Michael Felty. Mingus Mountain BMX is not a 501c3 nonprofit. Wheelhouse BMX LLC is not a legal entity in the state of Arizona. With these findings, I urge the town to verify the proper insurance is in place for this BMX facility. Mr. Felty will not have any insurance if he doesn't have a legal entity. And if you say, oh, we'll use the Wheelhouse insurance, I really urge you to check into the current status, as it could have been canceled. Why am I bringing these concerns to you? It's because I care. I care about the children in this BMX facility, I care about this town, and I care about the taxpayers. I urge you to practice due diligence on all contracts. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Patricia? Clerk, who do we have on deck?
Patricia Betzold and then Joe Colosimo.
Thank you. Welcome, ma'am.
Patricia Betzel, formerly of Granville, now in Chino Valley. Sorry. Dear Council, again, thank you for allowing me to be part of the committee working on the recreation facility. After giving my presentation to you on September 18th, it came to my attention that there were other questions that the council or some council members have. So I wanted to get on the public record, even though it's buried in the minutes. And mainly it's around why didn't we go with the YMCA and why didn't we go with the daycare? So there's various reasons. One of the things, and I have to preface and say, this is as an individual, not representing the committee, because that would be out of our purview. One of the things that YMCA insisted was that an all-day child care center be provided in order for them to operate their recreation center. That is an important source of profit for them. Some of that money is reinvested in the recreation center typically, but not all. Also, a for-profit all-day child care center complicates the analysis for tax-exempt status and the bond that we were looking at and getting. Also, the YMCA already has an all-day daycare here in Prescott Valley that they're working on, and it's in the work. Other reasons, YMCA will not be paying for the building, the town will. YMCA will not pay for mechanical repairs over $15,000. So you remember Finley Center, for example, how much it costs to change out an air conditioning unit, right? They will require, or they do require, an annual stipend of $500,000 a year for at least 10 years, and then they'll reconsider that amount in the future, undetermined. It would have to be renegotiated. Information by the YMCA, especially the costs they provided, were old. They gave us 2019 numbers, which kind of surprised us because, after all, it's from the Prescott YMCA. The presentation by the YMCA didn't really offer a forum for questions. It was more like a timeshare presentation, which mystified us. We actually ended up scheduling an extra meeting so we could have a dialogue with them, and that went well. We got a lot of answers to our questions, but we thought it was odd that it would be such a struggle. The other thing is there is a difference between a rec center and a community center. Community centers typically provide daycares, teen centers, et cetera. Recreation centers typically provide short-term childcare for parents using the gym. There's also a lot of liabilities running a child called center that the town would be
Ma'am, no
exposed
one can hear
to.
you. Ma'am,
sorry?
When the buzzer's going, no one can hear you.
Oh, sorry about that.
Thank
So
you for- ma'am.
there's liabilities,
Ma'am,
and that's
Thank
basically
you for your
it.
time. We'll
Thank
catch you
you.
next time. Clerk,
Joe Colosimo,
welcome, sir.
Thank you, council. Appreciate it. Joe Colosimo, Prescott Valley resident. Tonight, I want to address the false information being posted on Nextdoor and other social media platforms, specifically on silica poisoning in relation to the Fane Signature Group and APNS proposing to begin rock harvesting at the government tank site off of Old Black Canyon. The local groups posting this false information are using scare tactics, telling our Prescott Valley community that if FSG and APNS are allowed to have a gravel pit at the government tank site, that the nearby residents will be poisoned by silica. They post articles about the danger of silica and the effect it has on the human body. What they conveniently and intentionally leave out is that since 1984, when the existing gravel pit near Stone Ridge Drive started harvesting, there have been 0 cases of silicosis reported in Prescott Valley, including APNS employees. You can find that information on the Arizona Department of Health Services Yavapai County website. This shows that APNS is harvesting responsibly. In fact, they have never come close to the caution levels of silica danger. In other words, you have a better chance of getting carbon monoxide poisoning walking out to your car tonight than getting silica poisoning from their gravel pit. The Fanes had 3 open to the public meetings about this. Many of the people posting this false information do not live in Prescott Valley, but they seem to always have their noses in our business, telling this council what is best for Prescott Valley. And the local fish wrap constantly gives them the spotlight as well. I was told recently by one of the council members that I and the small group that I am involved with need to tone things down for the sake of Prescott Valley. How can I do that when these groups continue to lie to this council and the Prescott Valley community? And this council shouldn't be lectured by people who don't live in Prescott Valley. These groups are about themselves and what they want, not about what is best for our community. Stop listening to them, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
no one else, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, old business. Oh, I'm sorry, we jumping ahead there. Council communications, I'll start on my right. Councilman Freud, Vice Mayor. Mr. Davidson.
Mr. Mayor, the only thing I wanted to say is just thanks to the community for coming out last week for the Harvest Festival, and just a huge appreciation to the entire staff, not only our Parks and Recreation, the Police Department, Public Works, the entire communications that all worked to put on a great event for the public. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the town council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Council, we've all had a chance to review our packet. If there's an item to be removed, let's do it now. If not, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a move to approve all items listed in our consent agenda by electronic vote.
A second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Mayor Paul Guda. That passes unanimously.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up now, old business, ZOA 25-002, ordinance number 2025-962, amending Town Code 13-08040, marijuana uses to allow the delivery of marijuana and marijuana products within the town boundaries. Mr. Norlock, welcome back, sir.
Thanks, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. I'm just here for any further questions that you guys may have, but I have no further comment on this.
Your microphone.
I have no further comment, just here for any questions from you.
Thank you, sir. Any comments or questions for Mr. Norlock?
I just want to state, I know that there was some concern with the marijuana, and I just want to remind everybody that you can't be using it out in public. It's not legal out in public. You can only use it in your private home. And the delivery is only to your home, or can it be delivered to public?
Welcome down, ma'am. Please state your name for the record.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, Lindsay Shuby with law firm of Gamage and Burnham, 40 North Central, Phoenix, Arizona, 85004. Mayor, council member, it has to be delivered to the address on your ID. So yes.
Anything else from Ms. Shuby? Seeing none.
Ordinance number 2025-962, an ordinance of the mayor and common council of the town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, repealing section 10-07-050, marijuana delivery prohibited exception in Article 10-07, recreational marijuana in Chapter 10 offenses, and amending section 13-08-040, marijuana uses in Article 13-08, regulations governing particular uses in Chapter 13 zoning of the town code to allow off-site deliveries of marijuana and marijuana products to customers and patients within the town, providing that all other articles, sections, and subsections in Chapter 10 not herein amended shall remain in full force and effect, providing that if any provision in this ordinance is held invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, the remaining provisions shall not be affected but shall continue in full force and effect, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, ma'am. Shall this ordinance pass?
Councilmember Greer. Mayor, that passes 6-1.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, item 9B, ordinance 2025-963, amendments to Town Code Chapter 16, program implementation of new fees for right-of-way permits, related inspections, and plan reviews. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I'm here to answer any additional questions that you may have. We don't have any additional information on this from what was presented at the last council meeting.
Thank you, sir. Anything for John? Seeing none.
Ordinance number 2025-963, an ordinance of the mayor and common council of the town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, enacting section 16-01-015 definitions in Article 16-01 general engineering standards in Chapter 16 public improvements and amending section 16-02-070 permits in Article 16-02 offsite improvement standards in Chapter 16 public improvements to enforce the public right-of-way permit inspection and plan review process, providing that all other chapters, articles, and sections of the town code not herein repealed, reenacted, or amended shall remain in full force and effect, providing that if any provision in this ordinance is held invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, the remaining provisions shall not be affected but shall continue in full force and effect, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, ma'am. Shall this ordinance pass?
Mayor, that passes unanimously.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, item 10A, resolution number 2025-2434, street name change request, Panther Path to Bear Path. Thank you for joining us on this controversial item, sir.
Glad to be here. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, HUSD reached out to us to change the street name Panther Path to Bear Path. As you see highlighted on the screen, that's the section of road right there, Panther Path. It just goes from Glassford Hill Road to the HUSD district offices. And that road would transition to the name Bear Path. The only two tenants on that road that have an actual address for Panther Path is HUSD. There's a Head Start building attached to Yavapai College that also uses the address. We contacted both of them and they're okay with the actual address change for the street. With that, I will take any questions.
Thank you, sir. This is a public hearing, so I will open it up. Anyone in the public wish to come down and speak about this? Seeing none, closing the public hearing. Council, will there be any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign resolution number 2025-2434, adopting a street name change from Panther Path to Bear Path.
Second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Mayor Palguda? That passes unanimously.
Thank you, ma'am. Hopefully no other animals are offended by not using their name on this. Next up, item 10C, 5-year license agreement with Rihanna Adams of the Dance Project North LLC to operate a private dance studio on town-owned fairground property. Consideration and possible action. You are not Deputy Town Manager Judy?
No, sir. He's under the weather this evening, so I'll be presenting this item to you. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, we last discussed this item at the August 28th council meeting. And at that meeting, we discussed with council trying to preserve 3 elements at the fairgrounds facility, being the dance studio, the BMX track, and the RC track. In mid-September, the town formally severed the license agreement with the Wheelhouse Board of Directors. And since then, the building's been rekeyed, all utilities have been placed in the town's name. And the town is in the process of scheduling meetings to be held on site to get community input on the process moving forward and what they'd like to see in there. The item ahead of you, or the item before you tonight, is the Dance Project North licensee agreement and the key provisions. It's a 5-year license with 1 5-year renewal. It'll be $3,000 per month license fee, which will be $36,000 annually, increasing by 10% if we do renew for an additional 5-year term. The town will maintain the structural elements of the building. The Dance Project North will name the town as additionally insured on their insurance documents. And they will have the use of the shared parking areas and the usage of the 4,200 square feet that we're licensing. And they will have an annual reporting measure within the licensing terms. If there's any other questions I can answer for you, I will do so now.
Questions for Mr. Kieran? Councilwoman?
I see Miss Ree here. My granddaughter had attended the dance studio, and it's very professionally run. I do have a few little concerns, though, as far as we don't know what facility will be going into the Wheelhouse. And so to make a 5-year commitment on the term of the lease is concerning. Maybe they're not going to be happy with the new tenant. It just seems excessive when I think most of our contracts tend to be 1 to 2 years. The only other concern that I had, which is kind of related, is I know when the idea of buying the Wheelhouse came to council, many council members brought up lots of concerns about, it's kind of rough. There's a lot of issues there. And one of the things that this talks about is that the town may be on the hook for doing some of these repairs, such as electric. HVAC is a big concern because there's no heating or cooling in the building. So without having the information of what needs to still be repaired, again, I would think we could take this a little slower and see what the whole project looks like. So I would recommend a 1-year lease for now, and then extend it once we know what we're doing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anything to add?
Nothing else out there. We are looking at the 5-year term just to show the longevity for the licensee, and from that, making sure that the participants within there know that they've got a space to be able to utilize and conduct their dance operations.
I think one of the great opportunities about this is we open this up for an RFP, and we already have someone in place like the dance studio. They then can collaborate together and see what actually fits into that location, and almost a collaborative or a symbiotic relationship, which will benefit our kids. So I feel confident with the 5-year, especially considering the amount of investment that owner has already put into the property. And then we can kind of go from there and see what happens. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, go ahead, sir. I'm sorry, sir, you nodded off before.
I'm sorry, originally I told you I didn't have anything to add, but I just briefly, I have a lot of agreement with what Councilwoman Keel has said. I want the tenants, especially the dance studio, to be made whole, to be able to preserve their capital investment. That's my main concern. But I do agree that a 5-year license agreement with another 5-year add-on after that possibly kind of locks the town in on their options of what they can do with that and how marketable that makes that building. I feel like it's another entanglement we've gotten into as a town that's become kind of a bit of a money pit. So that's my concern. If there was some way that we could, for full disclosure, I talked to Mr. Legler this evening about that, and also Mr. Davidson, and I was informed that that there is the way the contract is written, that there could be an escape clause if, for instance, the town was going to sell the property. And there's another issue, of course, that we have to. It's zoned. The way it's zoned, we can't, it's not commercial or anything. It would be hard to market it. So there's a number of different things going back and forth, moving pieces to the puzzle. But anyway, I would prefer to see a shorter lease term. That's my only concern. Thank you.
Councilwoman.
Thank you for your presentation too. We don't always know what somebody's business model is, and I think this protects the tenant as well as protects the town. They're both in agreement of what they've come forward with on this contract. And if they're in agreement for it, it helps them to know how to plan for the future. So I always had a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. You always look down the road when you're trying to operate a business. And so this would give them justification for what they're charging and for what they're doing and going forward. So if this is something that they are also in agreement of, I don't think it's our place, in my opinion, to tell somebody how to conduct business. So that's just what I had to say. Thank you.
Council, anything else? Anything else? With that being said, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve a license agreement with the Dance Project North LLC by electronic vote.
Second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Mayor, that passes 5-2.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, item 10D, ANX 25-001, ordinance number 2025-966, annexation for Yampa Precision Manufacturing, approximately 5.66 acres south of 2nd Street and west of 5th Street, with the purpose to expand business operations. Sir, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. As you said, this is annexation for Yampa Precision Manufacturing. I will just present it with the zone map change. It will have 2 separate public hearings and votes on it, but they go hand in hand, so I'll just do them both together for the presentation. As a reminder, this is just the timeline we looked at last time required by state statute. We're now on the October 9th for the first read, and if it goes well, then we will have the 23rd next meeting, the annexation second read. The request is to rezone 5.66 acres just south of 2nd Street, just off 5th Street to industrial general. The property is in Yavapai County. The inner dark blue there is who is noticed by the town for the public meetings, and the outside radius is a 1,000-foot radius noticed by the applicant for the neighborhood meeting that they were able to attend and comment on. This is a general plan map of the area. The designation is Pad 1-1. The character of the area offers diverse employment for people working or living in the vicinity of State Route 69, and Pad 1 allows for industrial and commercial uses. The surrounding zoning is industrial to the north, which actually includes the current operations of Yampa. And across the street there is the Moose Lodge, and there's residential services to the east across the street as well, which is the VFW, and public land to the south, which is Fame Park, as we may know. This is the site plan. The proposal includes a 20,000 square foot building to expand the facility just south of the current operations. The owner has included a 10-foot landscape buffer on the east side, the 5th Street side, which brings you into Fane Park, as well as the, if that were developed there, the future right-of-way south of the property. He said he would do that as well, a 10-foot landscape buffer on that. These are some preliminary building elevations, the building will roughly be about 24 feet in height, similar to the current building out there right now. And we did receive this from the applicant. It's to show kind of the elevation of what it would look like from Fane Park. It's just rough. We would require a little more density in there, but just to show everyone that we would be putting landscaping, looking at facing Fane Park. That way you wouldn't have to look at all those retaining walls right there. And I'll take any questions.
Any questions in reference to the annexation, Councilwoman?
So the block walls that we saw there, they're also retention walls, is that correct?
Yes, it's a pretty sloped site
I
there.
was
So
going to say,
yeah,
I think there's a big dive in the back, if I remember correctly.
That's correct,
So,
yes.
yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Council, any other questions in reference to the annexation of this property? None?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to read ordinance number 2025-966 regarding annexation 25-001 by title only on 2 separate occasions, then place the same on final passage.
Second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously. Ordinance number 2025-966. An ordinance of the mayor and common council of the town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, annexing thereto certain real property, ANX 25-001, containing approximately 5.66 acres, lying in the south half of Section 22, Township 14 North, Range 1 West of the Gila and Salt River Meridian, Yavapai County, Arizona, classifying all the annexed property for zoning purposes as RCU-2A, being consistent with the present Yavapai County zoning classification of RU-70, providing that the official town map and the town zoning map be appropriately amended, and that a copy of the ordinance along with a certified annexation map be recorded in the office of the Yavapai County Recorder, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, ZMC 25-007, ordinance number 2025-967, zoning map change for Yampa Precision Manufacturing from RU70 residential single-family rural to IG Industrial General Limited. Mr. Norlock, you have anything to add? And I will mention that this is a public hearing which is open now.
I do not. I will say that town recommends approval, and I will take any further questions on this item as well.
Any questions in reference to this, Council? Sir, so has anyone contacted your office saying that this is zoned residential and there should be homes in this area?
I have not had anyone contact me about
But
that.
it's zoned for residential.
It is.
Okay, just checking. That being said, I'll entertain a motion. I'll close the public hearing.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to read the ordinance number 2025-967, approving ZMC 25-007 by title only in 2 separate occasions, then place the same in the final passage.
Second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously. Ordinance number 2025-967. An ordinance of the mayor and common council of the town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, amending the town zoning map, ZMC 25-007, for a 5.66 acre parcel of property being annexed into the town for expansion of Yampa Precision Manufacturing from RU70 zoning, residential single-family rural, the designation at annexation, to IG zoning, industrial general limited, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, 10F, ordinance 2025-968, amendment to Town Code 2-04-030, 3-member advisory committee open meeting law exemption. Mr. Legler.
Mayor and Council, whenever the legislature ends, we often need to change our code based on statutes that have changed. And so we'll be doing 2 of those tonight. These are essentially just cleanup, if you will. It's interesting, the one that we're starting with is a proposal to change what is the normal way of looking at open meeting law. If you happen to establish an advisory committee that only has 3 persons, the quorum would be 2. And any two people meeting together would need to comply with the open meeting law as part of that subcommittee or that committee that you've created. But the legislature decided to make an exception. So if you happen to have an advisory committee with 3 persons, 2 people from that advisory committee can meet without complying with the open meeting law. And that's what they're adopting here. Now, we don't have any such advisory committees, and we probably won't, although maybe someday we will. The challenge we have is that in our code, we basically explain how open meeting law normally works. And so if you have a quorum, you've got to comply. And so we've got to go in and amend our code to explain that if you were an advisory committee that only had 3 members, you could have 2 people meet without complying with the open meeting law. So that's what we're proposing to do. We'll have to have 2 readings, and we do recommend that you go ahead and read the ordinance and amend the code for that.
Anything for Mr. Legler? Seeing none, entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to read ordinance number 2025-968, amending Town Code 2-04-030 related to 3-member advisory boards and subcommittees by title only on 2 separate occasions and place the same on final passage.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call vote.
That passes unanimously.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ordinance number 2025-968, an ordinance of the Mayor and Common Council of the Town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, amending Section 2-04-030, meetings to be public, and Article 2-04, council procedure, in Chapter 2, Mayor and Council of the Town Code, to conform to recent legislation exempting a quorum of 3-member advisory committees and subcommittees from the requirements of open meeting laws, providing that all other chapters, articles, and section of the Town Code not herein repealed, reenacted, or amended shall remain in full force and effect, providing that if any provision in this ordinance is held invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, the remaining provisions shall not be effective but shall continue in full force and effect, and providing that this ordinance be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, 10G, final item, ordinance 2025-969, amendment to Town Code 6-05030, bond increase for care of seized animals to $500. Mr. Legler.
Mr. Mayor and Council, whenever a municipality adopts an animal control code, it must make sure that its provisions are no less a requirement than the state statutes that we have the authority to have such a code from. And so one of the things we've had for years is a bond that persons need to post if we take their animal because it was loose and need to care for it. And it was only $25. The statute was changed by the legislature, and for whatever reason, they significantly changed that to $500. And so we cannot have any lesser requirement in our code. So we are changing our animal code to include now that bond would be $500. I don't believe those bonds are required very often, but in this case, we would have to follow that. We've shared that with our magistrate court, and they're aware of it.
Okay. Any comments, questions? Councilman?
Mr. Legler, I just want to thank you for a nice, clear explanation of this and the prior ordinance change. It's nice to have it, without a lot of legalese and just, plain English. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman?
Mr. Legler, too. So if a dog is picked up and brought to our facility, there's an automatic $500 fee that's going to be charged for them to get their dog?
I don't believe so, and I can't tell you exactly when those bonds are required. As I say, I don't believe they happen very often. But in this case, if a bond must be posted, it has to be that amount.
And, okay, this just kind of hits my heart. I had a friend that was telling me that her dog keeps getting out, and then she was so grateful for our facility because they took the dog to the facility. She was able to get her dog right back. So my thought is, are we allowed to, as a community, to maybe come up with a grant of some sort to help people so they don't have to pay that much money? Because that just seems like an awful lot to be saying, oh, we had a resident for a night, and now it's $500.
My guess is we might have some challenges with paying for that just because of the gift clause and some of the other requirements. I'm guessing we probably could not do that.
Thank you.
Seeing nothing else, staff, if you could just brief council later next week in regards to the specific instances that this applies to, that'd be great.
You bet.
Entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to read ordinance number 2025-969, amending Town Code 6-05-030 relating to animal seizure bonds by title only on 2 separate occasions and place the same on final passage.
I'll second.
Councilmember Freund. That passes unanimously.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ordinance number 2025-969. An ordinance of the mayor and common council of the town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, amending section 6-05-030, seizure of abused or abandoned animals, notification, bonding, hearing, and Article 6-05 violations in Chapter 6 Animals of the Town Code to respond to Arizona statute requiring an increase in the amount of bond animal owners must pay to defray cost of care for properly seized animals, providing that all other chapters, articles, and sections of the Town Code not herein repealed or amended shall remain in full force and effect, providing that if any provision in this ordinance is held invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, the remaining provisions shall not be effective but shall continue in full force and effect, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, ma'am. That brings us to the end. Council, anything for the good of the order? Seeing none, have a great night.